All right. What's going on YouTube? Welcome to the live stream. My name is Dan. This is Neo Mustangs. This is my FOXBODY Mustang channel. This is our weekly live. As you guys could see in the thumbnail on the title, we're going to be talking about mods tonight. We're going to be talking about FOXBODY stuff, and we're going to be, kind of getting into a conversation on, how would you build it? You know what I mean? I'm going to share some of the experiences that I've had in the past with some of my FOXBODYs that I have here on the channel with my white turbo FOXBODY and my black turbo FOXBODY. But I want to give a big shout out to the guys that you see here in green. Shelby Co 5.0, Carlos, Broken Tool Garage, just to name a few. There's my channel members. So if you guys are curious about the channel membership, the join button in all my videos below next to the subscribe button. So check that out. Big shout out to my sponsors: Handler Motorsports, Mosier, Trick Flow Anderson Ford Motorsports, McLeod, Stiflers, Team Z, etc. So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody for stopping in tonight as we sit here and talk about some FOXBODY stuff. So anyway, the topic of the evening is very simple. If as you can see back here, I took a video this past weekend with my coupe Mustang here. You can see what we're doing here if you haven't already. If you're looking for this video probably tomorrow. We ended up scaling some of our Mustangs here on the channel, and I talked about blank canvas in the videos that I had shot this past weekend, which you'll see this week. And we talked, I thought to myself, that would make a good live stream discussion. If you had a blank canvas, meaning that you had a FOXBODY you just pulled in, that's what the thumbnail is, the trailer FOXBODY just pulled in, what are some of your first mods? If you've already built a FOXBODY, what are some of the things that you would have done first or better? And I'll go first. I'll go first with my Mustangs, and I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of things that I did to my white Mustang, which is like I've had that Mustang for over 20 years. That if I had to start over and do it again, it wouldn't be the same thing. So what's up, Fat Boy Fox? What's up, Budget Dom? Mark Turner in the house. What's going on, Mark? Ford Guy Mike, good to see you. Cousin Paul is in the house. It's good to see you, Cousin Paul. Ryan Bass. Lamar Richardson, good to see you, Lamar. Appreciate you. We were actually going to ship Lamar's engine, and I wanted to bring that up here on the channel because you guys all know I'm a FOXBODY 100 guy. If I stand by everything that I do, I stand by everything that I sell. And we had pulled this motor out of this coupe when we brought it home, and it's got a bunch of new stuff in it. But a couple red flags came up when I was getting ready to, start buttoning the engine up and getting it ready to ship to Lamar. Is like, I noticed that the ARP drive shaft, I'm talking about the distributor drive shaft, and it just fell out. And I'm like, that's not even put in right. So not dealing with that. The harmonic balancer, not dealing with that, meaning that it's not going to get shipped like that. So we're going to actually make a video about that engine, and we're going to actually purposely make the video like, when you're buying something on the internet, or when you're buying something like locally or from Facebook or any of the marketplace, Craigslist, whatever, like sometimes you don't know what you're getting into. And that's what the whole focus of that video is going to be this week. So I'm going to shoot that video, and I'm going to make sure that this engine is pretty much ready to go. So when Lamar gets it, he gets to just drop it in and be done with it. You know what I mean? Kent, I appreciate the $5 super sticker, man. Thanks for donating here to the channel. Guys, I always appreciate that. I always appreciate the monetization here on the channel. It goes just to do stuff in the channel. Not, you know what I mean? I appreciate everybody that's part of that. That includes you members here in the green chat. What's up? What's up, Adventure with Super Dave? Good to see you, man. Did I catch it? Cool. My very first 5.0 back in the day, I straight piped it. Yeah, me too. Me too. Not long after I got a vehicle inspection ticket. Oh, the stupid stuff I did as a kid. Yes. So I'm going to go with one that I had done. So, KP said that about straight piping. To this date, my white FOXBODY turbo car has, listen, 20 years ago, I was in college. military. Didn't have a whole lot of money. So one of the very first mods that I did to my white car was subframe connectors. So I just went out there and bought like the cheapest ones I could find. I just went to like eBay or whatever. I think I got them for like $50 or something. And I actually put them in. I didn't have a welder or anything at that point in time, and the guy who put them in didn't do it really well. So it's one thing that I'm gonna have to revisit on my white car. I mean, I'm not very proud of that. So, you know, being like one of the very first mods that I really push here on the channel, there's an experience behind that. You know, if you're gonna put a good subframe connector in, you know, it all depends on how much you got to spend. I understand that, but you know, just maybe take it to somebody who knows what they're doing more. I mean, it was more of a, you know, I didn't have a very good subframe to begin with, and it wasn't welded in very good. So we have to revisit that on my car. So that's cool. It's good that you shared that. Axles. Yeah, well, of course, because you broke some right there at the end. So let me tell you a real quick story about Budget Build Dom here. He was at the track at Quaker when we were doing some hits. Matter of fact, I did a little video on it. And he, yeah, we were pouring puddles for our, you know, we were kind of like, you know, no prep and, you know, like practicing whatever. And he wanted to actually, you know, try his luck at getting into the 12s at the time, I think it was. And he had, you know, we were like, yeah, we'll pour your puddles for you. And then he got ready to go make a hit. And he got ready to, you know, the conversation was ending. And I was just like, wait a minute, do you have stock axles in your car? And he's like, yeah. I was like, you're not getting stripper glitter. You're not getting the traction compound. So I didn't want him to break his axles in front of us. The installation of the Black Magic clutch has become quite the task. Clutch fork throw bearing isn't designed to work with a long style clutch, but I'm going to have to figure it out. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be. I got a clutch coming from McLeod. I don't know if it's the soft lock or the Borg & Beck. That I don't know if we're going to put that in the coupe here or if we're going to actually put it in the white car. So we're going to figure that out too. I got clutch issues that's going to happen, but for the time being, we're going to go ahead and stick the RXT HD in, which I'm going to be doing some videos on my white car. That includes the Stifler stuff that I've been promising, the videos, along with the putting a new clutch in too. So yeah, how's it going, everyone? What's up, 92 Calypso? Murphy's Law, how we doing? Handler Motorsports in the house. Yeah, so does he have an adjustable pivot stud? Yeah, that would help a lot. 5-lug conversion. Okay. 4-wheel disc brake conversion, disc. TFI module, tires. My best friend had a FOXBODY. Vert in high school, loved that car. Just bought the first FOXBODY GT last year. That's nice. Aluminum drive shaft was a great first mod. So yeah, aluminum drive shaft is actually a junkyard mod, but you got to actually find you got to find what is it? It's not Aerostar, right? Astrovan is set. Yeah, Aerostar. I keep messing that up. Thumbs up. What's up, Zach? FOXBODY Mustang. In the house. I did the NOS kit first, 150 shots. So I guess the whole thing meaning behind this, you know, this live stream is to, if you had a blank canvas of a build, what would be your first mod? So I'd like to hear everybody, you know, what they say. You know, we always talk about mods here in the channel. I'm always actually trying my best to motivate you guys. And some of the film that we do here in the channel, like I do so much on the channel, like you guys motivate me and I hope to motivate back. Matter of fact, I slacked this past weekend. I did shoot 2 videos, but it didn't have anything to do with work really. Like I wanted to put the housing on the 363 because I want to make a dyno date. My buddy Kevin Cragen over at the dyno and Dave Dahlke ready to, you know, pop the black car back up on the on the dyno just to see if the housing helped a lot with our back pressure. Now we'll talk about that in the video, but you know that's one of the 2 things. The header leak that we fixed, which I'll go over here in a second. The header leak that we fixed on the black car, we fixed the 4 spark plugs on the one side, or we changed them. We're going to go back to the passenger side, change the housing, because those are a couple things that I've been meaning to do in the black car, but I've been doing so much on the white car this past 6 months that I just haven't got to it. So as I got my 85 is rolled, my first mod is making so everything. Police car, Crown Vic police car. Adventure Super Dave, man, I appreciate the $20 super sticker, man. I appreciate you. Adventure Super Dave has really came through here for us here in the channel with the super stickers, man. I appreciate all the stuff goes to the channel, stays in the channel. You guys know that, and I appreciate not only you know, the super sticker, but he's also a channel member. Thank you so much. You should be getting your shirt, and I actually put another shirt in there for you, by the way. I was going to surprise you, but I hope it's the right size. Got mine from Power Unlimited in the 90s. Wow, I haven't heard that in a while. Hurst shifter, 351 swap. There's an interesting one, yes. Working on getting the rest of the parts I need for a 5-lug disc brake swap. The 8.8 swap from out of a 7.5. I keep getting sidetracked finding deals with motor. Yeah, we all do that, man. Everything, folks, 355 gears would be the first mod. Okay. So let's just say that, you know, before we actually erase this, I wanted to show you guys last week's live stream. We talked a lot about rare cars and the prices and stuff like that. So if you guys get a chance to check that live stream out, it was actually there was a lot of conversation on it after the live stream, which is nice. That's what I do these live streams for. You know, if you just now, you know, joining the live stream and it's already happened the day before, like tomorrow, man, feel free to chime in on some comments, man. Let me know what you guys think on some of the stuff we talked about in here. So, yeah. I'm going to actually write down, you know, this is kind of an engaging live stream, so I'm going to actually write down the mods that I see mentioned the most, and then I'll put them in a little whiteboard format here, right? So, you know, that's what we're talking about today, man. It's just like, we'll talk about some of the embarrassing mods that I still have on my cars. They're not really embarrassing, but you got to do what you got to do, man. You know, when I was 20 years ago, I wasn't in the same financial situation that I am now. You know, when you're building your FOXBODY, sometimes it's fine to be budget. I have more fun with budget-minded mods on the channel than I do all the expensive stuff. Like, you know, what we've done with my dad's car, man, that's what I'm talking about. That's where I had the most fun at. You know, we're about to revisit that, by the way. You guys, you know, I got some pretty powerful shit here on the channel. I know. I mean, I guess it's kind of powerful, but you know, we base this whole channel on, you know, budget mods and stuff like that. So, you know, we got a car that we're going to be doing that, plus the 387. I have a 387 update that we're going to be doing this week. I want to show you guys here in the live stream before the end of the live stream. So, as an update to a Vortec fuel pump in the car, I love it. Nice. So Jim or Willie actually won the T-Rex pump from the Fox Days of Christmas. And an update for the Fox Days of Christmas, got everybody's stuff out except for the merch and the small things, like the door pins. I haven't done any of the USPS labels, but everything that had to be shipped UPS is gone. So it's a little bit different on post office because I have a UPS account, so I can just slap a label on it and send it. But I'm not going to send door pins UPS. They want like $15 for that. Got to have a plan if the car only goes 13s versus if the plan goes 11s. That's correct. There is different things that need to be done. If it's going to be a driver from the jump, all the wear items have to go to 30-year-old cars. That's very, very, very good. Very good comment right there, Paul. Make sure you guys read that. It all depends on what you plan on doing with the car. Now, where that actually means something, at least to me, I purposely bought this SSP for a reason. Obviously, I've been down this road a couple times with my white car, my black car, my dad's car, the ultra blue two-tone, the black coupe that he had on the channel, Project Hot Wheels. And this is just cars that are on the channel. We've done mods. We've done budget mods. We've done expensive mods. We spent lots of money on stuff. We spent little money on stuff and done really cool stuff with it. The point of the matter is you got to have a plan. And a lot of that has to derive around three main things: time, family, money, right? Like those are the three most determining factors when you're trying to, build your FOXBODY. And I'm actually going to put that up there. These are the number one factors. Now we've talked about this before on the live stream, and you guys can't see it, can you? We've talked about stuff like this on the live stream, and I'm always revisiting it because it's like the three most important things. Some of you guys may not have a big family yet. Some of you just may be getting into FOXBODYs or whatever here in the genre, but don't have a whole lot of money or a career set up. And maybe you got a career, you just don't have a whole lot of time to be doing any of that because you have family to deal with. You see what I mean? So it's like the three biggest, restrictions, not really restrictions, but like priorities other than building your car. You still can't see that. It doesn't matter. Hang on a second. We're just going to have to cover up the motor for now. There we go. This is ridiculous. It's always something. Y'all see that now, huh? Hell yeah. There we go. Technical difficulties. GT40s. That's a good first mod. Let me catch up here, guys. Neo, what tool do you use for your valve spring removal? There is a Proform. There's a Proform, like, well, we have the hand thing that you can, twist on the car. But this is probably one of the best tools I ever bought. Summit Racing sells it. It's just like a clamp tool specifically. I think Proform makes it. Pretty cool little tool. Cousin Paul wears it out. Then I gotta buy a new one. That one's probably pretty wore out now. So it is what it is. Neo, on a Aeromotive 340 fuel pump, can I still use the 4-gauge wire if the pump has? Okay, so I do want to address this. It's all about resistance. Like the shorter you could make the 14 or 16 gauge that comes out of the pump, because I realize that some of the newer pumps come with the wires just whatever coming out of the pump. The less amount of wire that you could run with that 14 or 16 safely, the better. So it's just the amount of resistance through that wire. You're still going to get good power to the wire, but if you have the longer the skinnier wire is, the less power is going to get to the pump. Does that make any sense? I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So maybe not. I don't know. I'm not an electrician, but it makes sense though. I'm going to knock this thing over again. I hate this thing sometimes. It fails me. All right. Statesville, North Carolina. I have an 86 roller for sale, clean interior. Okay. Yeah, somebody was complaining that they couldn't see the whiteboard last couple of weeks or whatever. So, what's up, 650 Motors? You guys want to follow Edgar over on Instagram? Does a lot of stuff on YouTube as well. Out there in the West Coast, my man. It's good to see you, buddy. Okay, so first mod is amazing trim. So you got to have a plan. I would probably have to say, and we keep talking about first mods, it's always a good thing to talk about. I enjoy talking about, I enjoy talking about the same things over and over again because sometimes you get a different crowd of people that might have a different ideas on what they want to do with their car first. You know what I mean? Jesse Workman, my kids are grown, so mainly just making time and deciding on what I should modify my car. Exactly. So with my coupe behind me, since some of the first mods that I did with my white GT, the subframe connectors, we ended up doing the tubular intake, and I put a cheap rebuilt 30 over stock bottom end in it. I think the tubular intake and the Edelbrock heads were like the second and third mod with the E-cam. I did T5 swap the car because it was an original automatic car. So that ended up running me about $750. So this is like my first 5 that I did with my white car years ago. I mean, we're talking stock brakes, stock axles. I'm pretty sure it came with a gear, so I didn't have to put that in. The guy that I bought the roller from. As you remember, if you follow the channel, we actually wrecked an LX, a white LX, beautiful car, being stupid, driving drunk. So that was 20 years ago, and it was a mistake that I'll never do again. Ever since then, I haven't touched alcohol and gotten any of my Mustangs ever. First mods depends on your car speed density versus math. Okay, interesting. More power. I am in the 80s running Fox bodies. I am from the 80s running Fox bodies. We didn't have that. Has been available 20 years. That's correct. I have no kids, so the LX is my kid. Don't tell my wife. Elliot Mackhammer is okay. Gears, whether it's 355. So I would definitely have to say that #1 mod, and what I'm seeing a lot of people. What's up, Skinny J? What's up, Sean O'Brien? What's up, everybody? I'm sorry if I didn't say hi as you came into the you guys into the live chat. There's a lot in here, so I'm trying to keep up. On a budget 351 build, you said use large chamber heads to keep compression down. What would compression be with small 58? It would be too high. 351, 357 would be around 10.5 to 1. Don't quote, it depends on if you had the block decked or whatever, and what piston you're running, because not all of them are flat top. A 58cc on a 357 is going to be a nice build. It'd be nice 10.5, 10.75 to 1. You get into the 387, 393, 408 stroker stuff, you're going to have to run a dish piston on a 58 chamber head or a really big gasket and possibly E85. First mod I'd have to say is AOD 5-speed swap. Okay. So let's just say gears. I hear a lot of gears. And I would say 373 for AOD and 355 for T5. Those are my choices. That's what I would go with. I see headers, rocker arms. The very first mod would be some frame connectors. We just talked about that, Gunnar Smith. It's funny you say that. So since I agree with this as being the #2. I'm going to turn it a little bit so I can actually write on it. Subframe connector. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I wanted to mention to you guys. You guys can see that, right? Here's what I want to mention to you guys. Like subframe connectors, all right? If you're going to put them on, put the good ones on. Now, what I mean by good ones is I'm a big advocate for like full-length subframe connectors. Where I made a mistake, not only on my black FOXBODY turbo and my dad's car, I made a mistake on, my white turbo FOXBODY, and I'm not making the same damn mistake that I did on those cars with this car. Like, just listen to me. If you're going to pay $100, $125 for a set of subframe connectors, I get it. Money counts, money, time, job, family, whatever. I get it. If you could spring a little bit for maybe $50 more, consider getting the Stifler one. Now, Tom over at Stifler's, I didn't realize that they had a full-length subframe connector. I'm also thinking about getting a lot of Team Z stuff for this build behind me. And they have the through-the-floor subframe connectors, but I don't want to get those just yet. I think I'm going to run with the Stifler ones that are like a full length. Maximum Motorsports also sells one. That's probably, I didn't realize until probably few years ago that there was that much of a difference between just like your equal length, like your cheaper version of your subframe connectors in the long, in the full length subframe connectors. The nice thing about the full length subframe connectors is they'll go legitimately from your torque box all the way to your firewall. So literally frames your car. Whereas some of the equal lengths or some of the shorter ones only go up to like where your transmission cross member is. And to me, they work. Well, hell, they work, obviously, but I'm just curious to see how well my car rolls out soon when I start changing all those subframes over. So welded torque boxes, I agree. And you can weld the torque boxes up. Now we're not going to put torque boxes as a secondary. I think if you do subframes, you should do torque boxes and the reinforcement plate all at the same time, for the most part. I mean, we're going to put like an A torque boxes. I'm probably writing too small, and I'm sorry. I'm writing crooked here. You guys can see it though, right? Ryan O'Shea, man, I appreciate the $10 super sticker, guys. Appreciate the donation to the channel, man. Stays here in the channel. Thank you so much for what you do for the channel, Ryan. Thank you so much. That's a nice engine in your pick there. Appreciate you. Yeah, so how do you like them? Like, I would think that I'm doing a lot of, like, I jack my car up a lot with the, when we're changing wheels around. So the nice thing about having that subframe connector, you don't hurt any of the frame of the car, and you can literally slide your jack up underneath of it and jack up the whole side half of your car. And both wheels with a subframed car, pretty much the whole side of the car will come up where you could change both wheels at the same time. It's kind of nice. Pro 5.0 shifter to get rid of the sloppy one. That's a good one, Sean. 327. My AOD basically idles around 55 miles per hour, 1500. Yeah. These days, though, first things is rusty frame rails. That's right. There's no doubt. So gears and subframes. One thing about the gears, too, is you can actually go to the junkyard and you can steal gears from an Explorer. Actually, there's a number of Ford trucks that you could do that with, but Explorer is always a good donor. They always have either 373s. I've seen them have 327s before, but I think it was a V6 model. But like, if you see like a 5.0 Explorer that's got the GT40 upper lower intake, consider grabbing the diff and the gears out of it, because usually they're either 373 or 410s. So that's a nice gear set to have. I have full length subframes. They are nice. I'm about to install the Pro 5.0 shifter. Cool. Ashtray lid. So what do you guys think? Okay, let's have a little sidebar conversation. What do you guys think? Yay or nay? Ashtray lid fix or cup holder mod? I should actually put that. That's what this mod. Oh, should actually. Nice. Okay, so I'm gonna do a. Can I do that while I'm here? Pop up chat. Can I do a? I was kind of, you know what? I did the question last week. You guys remember that? Should have did the question this week. I'm sorry. Cup holder all day. Lid fix. I always have the lids on my cup holder. Cup holder. Okay. A lot of cup holder mods there. So we're gonna actually add that cup holder mod. Now, I want you guys to know that the shirt I got, I'm rocking the 417 Fox Performance shirt. So you guys get a chance, go check out Mike Johnson, 417 Fox. He's on YouTube. He's also 417fox.com. Sells a lot of merch. Does a really, he kills the game with the merch. Does a really nice job. If you guys get a chance to check him out. Some of you guys may know Mike and his wife 417 at 417 Fox. They do a really nice job. And the reason why I bring that up is because the cup holder mod. He does the dim heater control mod. You know what I'm talking about? Is that for the dim mod? Is that what it's called? So heater control mod. He made the panels to change it over in your console. So no drinks in the car. Lib kit is $20. Everyone I buy it gets it for $100. Upgrade brakes on the first mod. .417 stereo mod is fantastic. So what we're talking about is they actually make a mod for the console where you can move your heater controls down. Mike does, and I think it's made for a dim, like a, I don't know, radio. Is it a radio? I don't run a radio anymore. MGW shifter. So my first mod's underdrive pulleys and 100 shot of nitrous. Cup holder makes a daily driver summer in Ohio. That's true. So give me a number 3. We got gears. We got subframes. A lot of good suggestions here. No doubt. You know, got a couple little side mods here with the interior. Definitely cup holder and the heater control mod that 417 sells. We got. I've only actually heard one person say the mod that I'm thinking. What's up, Fox Edition 216? Double din. Stance. Woo, stance. South side left bars. They even sell those anymore? Rear control arms, old bushings will be trash. How about, there it is. Exhaust, boys, exhaust. Yes. Now, here's the thing. If you have a original factory cat converter, dual exhaust, don't trash it. If it's junk, fine. But if it's in good shape, consider keeping it to the side, because it's getting to the point now where we're getting a big push for the cat converters are so expensive now. Whatever, I don't know, but I know you can get good money for them, and you know, keep your factory stuff like that, because you can't get those Cadillac converters anymore, and those are very specific. So consider the fact, if you're watching this live stream and you're going to change exhaust soon, just consider putting it in the corner somewhere and just leaving it there. You know, that's kind of one part that you don't want to get rid of for your car. And to me, that would bring value, especially, you know, if you were selling it. Exhaust. Now this is headers, H-pipe, mufflers, tails, exhaust. Guys, I mean, let's be honest with you. I mean, if your car rumbles a little bit down the highway, down the road, tell me you don't get into the throttle a little bit. Come on now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I agree. Full exhaust. 373s and short throw shifter with adjustable stops. Okay, so like the Hanlon mod that we did with the TKX. I think is he the only shifter on the market? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. Aren't you the only shifter on the market for the TKX that has the stops in it? I haven't checked anybody else's out yet. Good thing you said that. I was throwing my stock H. Don't throw your H pipes away. Don't. They're actually worth a lot of money if they're in good shape. But just keep them. To me, as somebody who picks up Fox bodies all the time, or you know, with parts and restoration or whatever, a cat exhaust H pipe is worth twice what a full. Last I checked, they're insane. You know, if you were to sell the car down the road and you actually had that physical piece, just one of many that were actually stock parts from the car, it adds value to it. A shift light. Wait, is that what it's a shift kit? TKX is out of budget. My first off-road H-pipe was a Motorsports one, basically same as the factory H-pipe with cats. Off-road H-pipe are kind of hard to find right now. So, number 4. Somebody said it. Camshaft. Would you guys agree with camshaft? Now we could just say heads cam intake, but let's break it down into more of a. Let's break it down into a little bit more finite detail. If you had to choose between heads cam and intake, which one would you choose first? Now remember, time and money, right? Because there's not a lot of people. I mean, usually, getting the whole top end kit is cool, but how many people just bought the whole top end kit? There's not a lot. Usually you buy them one at a time. So when I said exhaust, I mean headers and mufflers. I mean just exhaust in general. So that could be anything from, your basic upgrade to, 3-inch exhaust. A shifter is a nice mod improving the driving experience. I agree. So I see cam, intake, cam. You can mess with heads and intake afterwards. I agree. Cam, everyone likes the car to be loud. So you went from upgrading your exhaust, intake first. GT40Ps are getting harder to find. Heads will give you more than a cam. Correct. But camshaft gives you sound. In the FOXBODY genre, a lot of people care about that rumble, man. They care about that sound. Like Brutal over on his channel, he has a couple good videos where, man, he's got actually 5 or 6 videos that actually shows you what each of the camshafts, like some of them are Anderson Ford Motorsports. So shout out to Donnie B and Anderson. But he's got a couple of Anderson ones on there. He's got a B cam one on there. I think he's got an E cam one on there. He's got a handful of them. Choppy chop. Please don't say B303. Heads intake. I'm going to say heads will give you more for the cam. So I'm going to say camshaft. I'm going to say I've seen camshaft the most. So we'll go with cam. I'm going to go chop chop. Chop chop, boys. Blup, 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 blup. Listen, let me tell you what. If you know anything about camshafts, which I don't claim to know a lot about camshaft, but one thing that actually a lot of people don't pay attention to is duration. And to be honest with you, B-cam has a duration of, equivalent to some of the cams that are in the mid 500s lift-wise. It's got a great duration to it. That's what makes that sound, in my opinion. I think it was 480 lift or something like that. Now you match a B cam with a set of 172 rockers. I'm always preaching the Cobra rockers or the 172 pedestal mount rockers. You got yourself a nice sounding camshaft. Hell, even the FOXBODY with a stock cam with a set of 17 rockers sounds amazing. What about full roller with forged internals? Full roller, what do you mean? Like you're talking about the whole rotating assembly? B-cam is the best with 17 rockers. Yes, B-cam, the best with 17 rockers. I'm gonna put a big plus 1.7, right? Big plus for 1.7. So we talked about camshaft. What's next? Gears. We go accelerate a little bit faster. Subframes keeps the car from rolling out to like going crazy. I like the fact that you guys picked subframes second. I really, really do, because to me, subframes and torque boxes are super duper important. They don't even cost that much. It's just the fact that you got to weld them in. You know what I mean? So it requires fabrication from a shop like, well, my buddy 650 here on the channel, like a shop here at Neo Mustangs. A shop at my dyno shop. A local exhaust shop. I mean, finding somebody to do that's more of a pain in the ass than actually, doing it. Buying them and doing it yourself. But not all of us have welders. Yes, I love the videos. I love that video that you can really notice a difference in the cams But the cam I really like, the Crowder cam that 5.0 Tussin has. Hell yeah, 5.0 Tussin, man, he knows his cams, man. He knows how to drive the shit out of a car, man. I enjoy watching his videos. You guys don't know who that is, go check out 5.0 Tussin. Is it 5.0 Tussin or 5.0 Tussin? I think it's just 5.0 Tussin. I should know that. That's my fault. That's a good one, man. 3G alternator, Gunnar Smith. Cam with worn out stock valve train is a waste of me. No point. Okay, so when I say camshaft, chop, I'm going to say 1.7, and I'm going to add springs to it. So that's a good point. No thanks. It's a good point. Plus springs. If you're going to do a cam swap, do the springs. Do the springs. Because most likely that head will, the head that you're going to put the 1.7s on in the camshaft, you're going to need springs. I'm telling you right now. Almost every one of them needs springs. Regardless if it's GT40, E7, dude, I just rebuilt, bro. Do you guys follow? Do you guys follow my shorts? Trans oil coolant rear end. So yeah, basic maintenance is a good thing. Do you guys follow my shorts? You know that we had this set of SBO aluminum heads that we picked up, right, on the channel. Now, if you follow my shorts, you'll see that I had like 200,000 views from this, but we picked up an old set, and it came with my tubular intake. You guys remember this? You guys remember the cylinder head? These cylinder heads? Like, I did a short on these things. Like, these things were so whooped. Like, I mean, kind of goes back to, talking about Lamar's engine earlier in the live chat. You don't know what you're getting into sometimes. When I actually took these cylinder heads to the dyno shop, where my buddy Dave Dog does machine work for us here on our channel, we actually, like, these valves were like bent. We had to replace this one. So he did a really nice job. He decked the surface of the heads, went through the heads. We had to change all the seats. They were whooped. One of the valves was bent, and legitimately, the springs, every one of the springs that were on this cylinder head that we rebuilt were all blue. They were whooped. So we did manage to save a set of GT40 SBO heads from the scrapyard. Well, they wouldn't have went to the scrapyard, but we had a lot of money in these to get them right. But they're better than they are new at this point. So pretty cool. So the reason why I bring that up is because we had to change the springs in these heads, because you would think that buying a set of, aluminum heads that you could just slap them on and go, that's not ever the case. I'm telling you, it's not ever the case. So, pretty cool though. What was the question? What's 13.1 on the 85? This gets into the rabbit hole. That's correct. A cam, springs, and E7 heads is a waste of money to me, unless you want to keep. Now, to be honest with you, you can get springs. If you can get you could get a cam, 1.7 rockers, and springs, even if they're E7 heads. All that stuff, the E7, the 1.7 rockers and the springs, all interchange to GT40. So you'd be surprised on how often that same set of trick flow valve springs, which cost like $140 or $150. You'd be surprised on how much that interchange with all the other heads in the game. I'm not running 13-1. It's going to be 11.5-1. Yeah, I think so. I think the SVO turbo swirls. Do you remember that? Those things are like, I remember those things were only like 1,500 brand new, like 15 years ago. They're like 2,500 for the set now. It's ridiculous. On a simple cammed GT40 headed 5.0, Wii Stealth, 650D double pumper, or GT40 intake with 24s. Listen, if you're going to run a stock bottom end GT40 anything, you don't need 24s. Guys, you follow the channel here on the, you know that me and that cousin Paul and I here on the channel with Dad's car, we had a speed density car. Our 19-pound injectors were not out of fuel until we hit 350 wheel. Now, on a stock bottom end GT40 head, GT40 intake, regardless of what camshaft you run, which is going to be not big enough anyways, you're not going to hit 350 wheel. Not on that motor. So don't run 24s. Unless you're going to make 325 plus, which should happen somewhere around 327, 331. Like we start getting into the small stroker motors, then consider start going to 24s or 30s or 42s and getting a custom tune or whatever. But to be honest with you guys, 19-pound injectors, at least the Explorer ones, if you're going to get any injectors at all, just get the 19-pound Explorer ones, or, you know, whatever. Don't overthink the build. You know, we do that a lot. You know, hey, I need the next best thing. You don't, especially on a stock bottom end GT40 build, GT40 intake. Listen. If you got the GT40 heads and intake anyway, you probably got the yellow injectors too. Rebuild them, clean them. They're probably the best 19-pound injectors, and you can find them in 4.6s too in the junkyard. They're in all the 4.6 motors. They're the skinny little yellow one. They got 4 little sprayers instead of one. You can get rid of the fatter style EV1 style injectors that came stock with FOXBODY. So I'm very how you want to say, you know, very dialed in the fact that, you know, 19-pound injectors are not out of fuel until you hit 350 wheel. What about a set of Edelbrock 625 double springs? Listen, if it works, it works. Guys, I ran low 12s on stock E7s. That's correct. He did. Car was a little light and had purpose, but that's just the way it is. Explorer over Crown Vic. What do you mean? Are you going to run over into overlap with the cam? No. Any tips on cleaning injectors? They actually have an injector cleaning kit that you can get on Amazon. You can get them on eBay. You can get them just about anywhere. They have a little tool that gets the filters out that pops. You know, most of the little kits, the rebuild kits, are like 20, 30, 40 bucks, if that. They come with the pintle caps. They come with the new O-rings. They come with the filter inside. It's pretty cool. How about a 363 with 800 horsepower quick fuel carburetor? I have a 363, but we have a EFI though. How much horsepower would you want a 2600 par for 11s? How much horsepower would you want for a 2,600 pound? Is that with you in it? I run EV6 injectors with the adapters on GT40 two-wheeler. Needed to run a 3A spacer. The pugs hit the bottom, caused the fuel leak without it. So, number 5. I'm assuming you guys are going to say heads. Make sure you buy the heads. When you get into the 5th mod, you start getting past camshaft and having all the funny chop time. You start getting into cylinder heads. Make sure you always choose a head that you can grow into. Unless you want to go budget, save some money, no problem with that. Run with GT40s. We're talking here on the channel. We're talking about some valve springs. We're talking about some rockers. And we were just talking about not putting E7 heads with springs in 1.7 rockers. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I made 500 wheel on a set of E7 heads with a stock cam with a set of 1.7 rockers with a turbo. Project Hot Wheels surprised the shit out of me. You guys seen the build here on our channel. I don't hide anything. I don't cheat any of the numbers. We made 478 blowing through the clutch wheel. So, okay, so Sean O'Brien asked me, where'd you go? How much horsepower would I need to run 2,600 pound car into the 11s? So let's say he's 2,800 with him in it. Well, let's put it this way. My dad's car is full weight, no cage, no sub. No, we just put the subframes on it. With a small turbo, speed density, 19-pound injectors, 7 pounds of boost. We made what did we make, guys? 330? 330 wheel, 338, 378 wheel. And we put that car into the 1160s. So I would say a good set of heads, cam intake, lightweight, 2,600 pounds is pretty much lightweight. I think about 300 horsepower. I think 325 horsepower puts you in the mid-low 11s, depending on how you 60-foot. Will a TKO 600 work well behind a 408? It'll work, but I'm not a big fan of TKO 600s. Huge misconception with carb sizes, okay? So, number 6, obviously, is your next thing, is your intake. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but GT40 intake, definitely. GT40 here is your budget stuff. As we talk about that always on the channel. Always, always, always talk about GT40 stuff. If you're talking about, less money and, time finding a set of heads, you can find a set of GT40 heads for $200 or $300. Take them to the machine shop, have them decked, have them cleaned up, put a set of springs on them that you already had in your E7 heads. You can actually swap the springs right over, just reshim them. They're not whooped. And you can also put the rockers on. So that's why cam is actually before all these. It's before heads, because you can put the cam in and support it with the springs and rockers. And then when you're ready to move on, the stuff that you put into the heads with the springs and the rockers can go over to the heads. I just keep talking about that. But GT40 intake definitely flows pretty good for being a junkyard intake. How much money are we talking, and which turbo kit is best suited for a Fox in stock form 5-speed? The best turbo kit you can get in stock form obviously has been the On 3. I've always trusted the On 3 for the most part. There may be some mods down the road that you got to do to it or whatever, but for bang for buck, there's a couple other good alternatives out there for turbo kits, depending on how much money you got to spend, to be honest with you. Yeah, I thought Hot Wheels was a really cool build. We actually took a complete bone stock motor. I flipped the pistons in it, factory camshaft, flipped pistons. Block was machined like my 387. It was decked. It was cleaned. It was ready. We honed it. We just ball honed it with, the 240 grit. And we rebuilt the E7 heads. We did not port anything. That includes the intake. We just ran 19-pound injector, or excuse me, we ran 42-pound injectors, and we put an On 3 kit that we built from pieces on that car. And we made 478 502 wheel blowing through the clutch. So yeah, it was definitely worth it. We had a good time. I miss Project Hot Wheels. Their wastegates are trash though. Yeah, that's why I always put a 66 millimeter wastegate on all my turbo kits, because I believe that there's a lot, like as far as back pressure is concerned on your turbo kit, like the smaller your wastegate is, the less amount of pressure it's going to get out of the pipes. So I'm always a big advocate for putting a big wastegate on, so any of that back pressure that's coming back through the pipes can escape through that big wastegate and get out of your system. So it seems to have helped quite a bit. How much power is a GT40 intake good for? I don't know. We made 586 624 to the wheels on my blue two-tone car years ago on GT40P heads, GT40 intake, stock cam 1.7 rockers. We just turned it up to 16 or 17 pounds, and we pretty much were on all gate at that point. I just called, what did it say? I just walked in, or are we talking about 351 stroker? I mean, we are kind of a little bit. How much better do the GT40 heads actually flow over E7s? They're considerable. Actually, the velocity. You got to talk about, when you're talking about heads, the GT40P heads have one of the best, and I want to say Richard Holdner said this. can't remember. I think it was Richard Holdner. Don't hold me to it. I think he mentioned something about GT40P heads being, for a factory head. I think he had mentioned something about them having good port velocity. No, it wasn't Richard Holdner. It was one of the engine builders that I talked to down in Swap Meet, reputable engine builder. He had mentioned something about GT40Ps having really good port velocity for what they are. You know what I mean? I need a turbo kit. And how's the 387? The turbo kit, I don't know if I can help you with that. I do have a hot side that came with this new car. It was brand new. The 387, actually, we just got the oil pan back. Now, what was holding up on the 387 the whole time was the fact that, we were building this 387, and we'll start talking about that here. We were building this 387 with the fact that I had a bunch of extra parts that are just sitting on the shelf, and instead of just selling them, I just figured I'd throw an engine together that we could use. So we had this road race pan for years. This was actually on my 357 build a long time ago. It's a pretty good pan. It's an old pan, but it had this big notch here, because it's road race or whatever you want to call that. It had this big notch here, and the thing of the matter is the car that this is going in has a T56 Magnum that's going behind it. And what happens, what messed up my clutch cable on the last build was this notch came out like straight out here and then squared off like it does on the other side here. So we had to actually cut this corner out and re-weld so the clutch cable can naturally come around this and hook into the 7 o'clock position that the Magnum is. So that's what we were waiting on. We had to fabricate this pan and move it. Pretty cool. So now we're going to be doing a video on the 387 to finish it up. I'm putting a Kerbin fuel pressure regulator on soon and want to put the Kerbin fuel pressure gauge on and know how much pressure is going on. But unlike Aeromotive, no port on how to tell how much pressure. Wow. They don't have any like a -4 or something. You can that doesn't make any sense. Holly Terminator. What's a good tire size for a reasonable budget? What wheel do you have? So that's another one. What I got for number 7? First mods. Blank canvas. What's your first mods? Number 7. GT40P heads are about like Mopar 318 swirl port heads. I don't even know what that is. 60 millimeter turbo or 70? 70. Good night, Roberto. Thanks for joining, man. Okay, is Pony Down Performance still around? Okay, so you guys know I run B&G Turbo Kit on my black car. It's one of the original Stage 1s that Brian built years ago. If you guys don't know who B&G Turbo is, he does some custom stuff now, but I think I don't know if he does any more like regular turbo kits anymore. I think he sold his jigs to Pony Down. Pony Down has roughly the same. If you're looking for a turbo kit that is like the one that's in my black car, then Pony Down actually makes pretty much the same exact ones. If you guys were wondering. First mod, fix the ashtray door. We already talked about it, Larry. Cup holder. Wheels. That's what I was hoping to see. Kent said it. We're going to say stance here too. Can we say stance too? Wheels, stance. Now, I bring stance into the equation, obviously, because you could take your factory springs and you could actually cut them and stance your car out. Now, I would suggest getting the coil spring, especially if you got a factory suspension. I would suggest getting the coil spring install tool for the factory K member, it helps a ton. So you could cut, I think rule of thumb is you cut a coil in the front, cut a half a coil in the rear, and you adjust your stance from there. So first mod should be a 2 or 4 post lift. Yeah. A9L will work if you can find a 8 LD remans for a decent price. I wish I had more engine space in my 75. I have a wide body. That's cool. Wide bodies are cool. Axles and diff. So when you do gears, you should probably do diff. If you can afford to do it, you can do axles and gear. I mean, if you're going to start back here, I would suggest, messing with C-clips and diff. You can get that stuff budget. Can't wait to install my strange struts with coilover kit. Wheels and stands. So, just like the camshaft, and be honest with you guys, just like the exhaust and camshaft, I think wheels 3, 4, and 7 are the ones that like a lot of people like to watch, not watch, but like to buy, because this is inevitably the looks part of it, and this is the performance sound part of it with the exhaust. You see what I mean? So everybody likes a FOXBODY that's got a little rumble to it, got a little stance to it, got little wheels to it. Definitely brings some attention to it. Best way to clear fuel tank. My roller came with a 340. I want to test it and empty the tank before I fire up my rebuild, but don't want to drop the tank to empty it. Yeah, you should just probably suck it up and drop it. I actually, what I do with my tanks, if they're not already sumped, like my black car, my white car obviously are sumped. They have a -8, -10, 750 Magna Fuels. But, like my dad's car, and Project Hot Wheels, even the car that we're building with Cousin Paul this year, they all have I always, when you have the tank out, you have the opportunity to go ahead and punch a hole in it and weld a bung. So you can actually, you would be surprised on how useful having a drain on your tank is, especially one right at the bottom where the plastic's at, where you can just unscrew it and just drain it. If you're trying to store it for the winter, or if you're trying to change fuel or whatever, you'd be surprised on how useful it is. What's the aluminum drive shaft from the van you were talking about? So 83 to 85, 87, 89. I don't remember. I think it's early 80 or late 80s, early 90s had an Aerostar, the Ford Aerostar all-wheel drive version of the van. If you find an all-wheel drive Aerostar in a junkyard, most likely it's got an aluminum drive shaft in it. That's the exact length you need for a FOXBODY. All-wheel drive Aerostar. Like I said, I think it's late 80s, early 90s. That's correct, Ken. Fits with no mods. So I'm going to add one myself. I'm going to add another one. And this one's going to kind of suck because it doesn't have any cool effect to it like exhaust and shit. But I'm going to say 3G. And somebody mentioned it earlier in the chat, and I was going to star it, and I forgot to. 3G alternator conversion. I think 3G alternator conversion is probably one of the most beneficial mods that you can do early on your car, especially when you start switching to electric fans. If you're about ready to switch to electric fans and change your radiator and all that other stuff, 3G alternator is a must. And wiring it correctly, throwing doing a 4 gauge over to a 100 amp circuit breaker, that's important. It's important. 3G alternator I think is one of the best ones you can do, because then at this point, you can add your electric fans and not really, drain the system too much. You can, your headlights are brighter. You can put your LEDs in at that point because you got the power to run them. So wiring your pump would probably be right in line with that if you're getting ready to mod. So I'm going to put that as an A. Wire your pump. So we have a fuel pump mod here on the channel that we do on all of our cars. When do you consider a 5-lug conversion? When you're tired of looking at 4-lug wheels. I'm gonna be honest. If there's 4-lug wheels out there, leave it alone. One of the major things about switching over to 5-lug is the fact that you had better wheel selection, a ton of wheel selection, and you had better brake selection. But 4-lugs, I mean, I rocked 4-lugs forever, you know, and they're making reps now to where they're all 4-lugs. Like, you know, you have your Cobra R's, you got SVEs, you got Cobra reps. You know, there's a lot of the Annies. There's a lot of, you know, good wheels out there that are still 4-lug. Unless you're doing it for a performance thing. All-wheel drive Aerostar, that's correct. James Salter confirmed it. I'm upgrading my rear suspension on my van E150 this spring. I have a factory Ford 9, and I'm adding a True Track. Sick of having I hear that, man. Yeah, so some of the best electric fans would be, junkyard wise, would be obviously your Contour fan is probably the best in my opinion. The Taurus fan is an 18-inch blade, and it has room. If you flip it, it has room for your overflow bottle to just mount right on a. It's kind of one of my favorite ones. Is the Taurus fan, especially the one that's got the high-low setting, because you can just set it on high and it'll never get hot, as long as the motor, you know, doesn't blow up or whatever. But the Taurus fan's nice, and I'm a Contour fan guy. I have it in both of my cars, but you know, the Taurus fan is nice because you can flip it. If you can't find a Contour fan, I'm giving you an option. You can actually, like, if you take the Taurus fan out, the passenger side of the fan has a big open area. If you take all the crap off of it and you flip the fan upside down, you can actually mount your there's a mod out there. You can mount your factory overflow bottle right there to the side of that fan. It's pretty cool. What year Taurus? Early 90s. Listen, I'm gonna have to revisit the junkyard mods, I think, because I got to get back into. I can't even remember what year it is. I want to say 90, 92, 94. You can tell I think it's a V6 model. It's a big 18-inch blade. I got all black 4-lug 17-inch pony rims, 10s in the back and 9s up front. Love it. Plenty of 9-10 second stangs on 4-lugs. We went 950 on 4-lugs. I love the dual fin calipers. So, yeah, that's a good. The 5-lug conversion is always a good thing to do with the brakes if you start going faster. I mean, some people's brakes don't work as good as the others. You know what I mean? Like my black car's brakes, they just stop. I mean, we go 135 in it, no big deal. I mean, it's seeing its, you know, wear and tear and age and whatever, but yeah, it's definitely worth it, you know, to go 5-lug when you start going too fast. Or faster. Shouldn't say too fast because 135 isn't that fast. Not for me. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, guys. I have the Taurus fan. It works awesome, but limited clearance. That's one of the biggest issues with the Taurus fan is because it's big. So it gets real close to the water pump pulley. LED bulbs drain the electrical system in a 97 Mustang GT. Probably battery alternator setup. Still no love for the rear arms on here spinning in it. What? So that's actually a good idea when you're upgrading your axle. Control arms. Now, K-member, let's just talk about suspension in general. I think suspension, that's control arms, rear and front. I think that's very important. You know, these cars are 35 years old now, and their bushings, I'm telling you guys, these stock control arms ain't cutting it no more. These bushings are all tore up, they're dry rotted, they're falling out. So control arms are definitely a good mod to start with, you know, and it can be their first one. You know, when you start doing the subframes and torque boxes, you can work your way into the lower and upper control arms. You know, with good bushings, whether it's spherical or the polyurethanes. Now, don't forget the one when you're doing your control arm upgrade. Don't forget the top 2 ear differential or 8.8 axle bushings as well, because you got to replace those as well. The ones that are on top, you know, the ears or whatever. When do you go MSD? I was on stock ignition till 600. I think the new factory control arms will suffice for a little more than stock power. Yeah, for sure. Murphy's Law, I did it with the air hammer and a cordless drill. What do you say? Roll cage. I don't know if I'd be telling them to go roll cage unless they're actually roll cage is a, you know, like a 10-point roll bar. It's like 8 or 6 or 8 point. Probably when you start getting into like racing a lot, like I do, I like to street drive my cars as well, but roll cage is definitely one of the top things that I do to my cars. I have to, because, you know, I go to the track and bust off a 9-second, you know, pass and flip flops in a t-shirt. You know, they're not going to like me very much at the track, especially when I'm over there knowing better. You know what I mean? Never delete what? What do you say? Never delete the map light. So that's what we're doing. I mean, everything you're talking about there, Turbo Man 351, it's basically what I'm about to say in my video this week with the blue car. Some of the things we got coming this week, you know, some of the ideas that we're doing. The reason why I got this idea for this live stream is because we were doing the video for the coupe. And, you know, I always said to myself, well, I'm starting with a blank canvas. This is stage 1 of a build. And we're not going to be wasting any time on this build. So I got a hold of Team Z, and I got a whole cart full of stuff that's coming for this FOXBODY. I've been waiting for a car like this. And, you know, I'm going to do it right the first time. My white car, my black car, I've loved them for years. My black car is my street car. Drive around town with it, have a lot of fun with it. Sometimes we'll take it to the track and bust out a good time. Whatever. It's heavy. It's like everything possible still attached to it, minus the air conditioner and the smog. Whatever. But, you know, this coupe here is going to be purposely built. I always talk about that on channels. Just, you know, build. You know, you do you. You know, you build what you want. You know, I don't care if it's a 14-second car, 13-second car, if it's a 9-second car. I don't care. You build what you want to build. But as far as the coupe is concerned, we're going to be doing a, we talked about it in some of the other videos. We're talking about like a 2 front end because the core support's bent. Being it's an SSP, I got to move the buck tags back to the strut tower because I want to keep the resemblance of it being a SSP still. You know, we're going to do a 10-point chrome molly. We're going to do the Stiflers, full-length subframe connectors. We're doing a axle brace kit with 9-inch ends. I'm going to be doing that all here on the channel. A lot of that stuff's chrome molly though, so some of the welding's got to happen somewhere else. I'm not going to TIG it, or I'm not going to MIG it and then have to TIG over top of it. That's just not the proper way to do that. So we're going to make our coupe nice with all the structural parts. You know, this is the big subframes, the torque box reinforcements, the brace kit, the spherical upper lowers, the anti-roll bar. You know, the tubular front, the tubular K-member, AFCO big guns in the front, AFCO in the rear, the double adjustables in the rear. We got a lot of really good parts going on this coupe. Still going to have a full interior minus the seat in the back. Nobody's going to be sitting in the back of my coupe. You know, it's going to be, we're not even putting Kirkies in it. So it's going to look good. It's still going to have, it's going to be like my white car. It's going to still have everything in it. But if you see behind me, we're doing scaling. So I brought the scales home for my white car and the coupe and my black car for that matter. So if you guys are curious to see how much they weigh, stick around. We actually got a question in our members chat on, you know, somebody wins a t-shirt if they guess the weight of the coupe behind me. Yep, 1099 quicker. You need a roll bar or anything 150 mile an hour requires a chute. Man, I appreciate that, Adam. I appreciate that. Are you doing torque box replacement with the adjustable mounting holes on the rear? No, I'm not getting that crazy with it. We're going to set the pinion angle at like 2.5. Just like my white car, we're going to adjust the control arms and we're going to send it. The way this sits right now, this car is going to be decently lighter than my white car and make as much, if not more, power. So I think I've talked about it enough on the channel to know that, you know, you guys already know what engine's going in that. Not mini tubbing it. Don't need it. Is the hatch heavier than notch? Quite a bit. It's about, what is it, 200 pounds, boys? Depends on if it's a GT or LX. I think the GT's 225. Don't quote me. But I think that the GT's around 200, 225 pounds more. I think the LX is 175. I think those numbers are skewed. Stand behind 2175 is my lucky number. I already know. There's a couple people here in chat already know what it is. You'd be surprised. Hey, I'm going to release that video tomorrow. It's going to be, you know, us. We're scaling the coupe roller back here just to kind of get an idea of what it weighs in roller form. So, got some guesses on the old channel on how much it weighs. You guys are gonna be surprised. Yep. So that's what we got coming on this week. We also have a top 10 mods that I'm going to be doing to the coupe that are actually on their way. And we actually have a couple new sponsors of the channel that's going to help with the coupe build here. So it's going to be really nice to be talking about that. You guys know we have a couple events that we're going to this year. We are going to be going to Chocolate Fox May 6th, 5th, and 6th. You guys are, if you follow Foxtoberfest, it's I think Jen at Fox Resto changed it to Foxy Events. I think that's what it's called now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Big shout out to Jen and Matt down there at Fox Mustang Resto for putting those events on for us here in the community. But I will be there on the 5th. Hear tell of a possible track, something going on or whatever. But on the 6th, I will be coming home for my first no prep race here locally in Ohio. So we will still have the, as far as I know, we'll still have the pop-up there, and Cousin Paul will be there with Sandy and Paul's car. What transmission is going in the new car? T56 Mag. Not as light as the gray mare. Yep. That car's pretty light from what I hear. That's pretty cool. Swiss cheese at like 5.0 Tesla. No, it's not going to be. It's still going to have a resemblance of a street car to me, guys. It's still going to have a dash and a console. I'm going to put 2 Corvette seats in it like I have in my black car. Those seats don't weigh that much more. I got to build a plate for the seat so the seat don't bounce for that seat. Rear seat delete, chrome moly 10-point, carpet. It's going to have all that stuff in it. It's going to be light enough for me to be happy. If we're at 2,900 with me in it, I'm happy. If we hit 2,750 with the car, without me in it, I'm happy. You know what I mean? It's considerably lower than my white GT anyways. So, yeah. How do you have your reverse lockout hooked up on your T56? Get a hold of Hanlon Motorsports. They actually have a kit for that. Dallas is losing. Guess weight and drivetrain or without. It's on the members channel. I told them they can win a t-shirt if they guess the weight. It's a roller. So that's what we got coming on. How much power will the upgraded engine world-class T5 hold up to? Depends on how you drive it. T5s can hold up to some power. Matter of fact, we've made 400 wheel, 478 wheel with the Hot Wheels, but I think that the final tune was 450 because we were turned up a little bit there. And we ran a T5 in Project Hot Wheels for a long time. It's all how you drive it. Yeah, that's light, Dom. Think you can easily hit that number, even be lighter for sure. I'd build it the same. Don't prefer cars that have been gutted. Yeah, I'm not going to gut it at all. I mean, it's going to be light. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to have a heater box. I don't need AC. I don't need power steering, even though I'd like to have it. I'd probably still leave the power steering on it. I'm not even going to lie, but I think we're going to go with the Flaming River rack. The Flaming River, Flaming River was definitely. I think they made it power. I want to say they made a power steering one too. They're definitely on my list. So on my list that I'm sending the Team Z. Okay, guys. So we're about 120 in. We got about another 10 minutes. Let's talk about the 387 for a minute. Huh. Come on, man. Oh. Like I said, we just did the oil pan. So we're going to be finishing putting this together. It's funny how the people in the shorts were all mad at me that I wasn't oiling the block. This thing is like super oiled. But we're finishing. We should be putting the lifters in, the oil pump, oil pan, dog bone retainer, head studs. We have a new set of heads that are going on the block that I haven't introduced to the channel just yet because we were waiting on the springs. TrickFlow was supposed to send me some of the springs and they didn't yet. So must be on back order. Yeah, T5 rebuild video, extremely informative. However, do you think the G-Force gears, just buy a TKX? For sure. Any questions about a transmission? I mean, you could take a TKX to 7,500, 8,000. I shifted it at 72, no problem. I know they've shifted it a handful of times. What are you saying? What should I expect launch-wise with a 12-inch, 250-pound Viking springs in the front? I don't know. That's really specific. What's your fastest time going to be this year? I have no idea. I can't answer that question yet. Handler knows what we're going for. Adam, buy a TKX. The time and money you have into the G-Force kit and case isn't worth isn't going to be worth it. What should I expect? Okay, so we are all set up here. So, anyways, I know a lot of people waiting to see this thing, waiting to see this 387 run. I'm excited to see this thing run. Like, that thing's budget as hell. Budget as hell. Piston is sitting right at the deck, too. I'd honestly say that's about 5 in the hole. We cut this block about 10 thou or so. It's nice and flat, but I would have to say that piston, if I had to guess, that piston's an easy 5, maybe 10 in the hole. Even though it's flat top. What is it called when you grind all the edges? Yeah, it's deburring. Usually you have to do that on like the new aftermarket blocks. I've seen that happen. So we got going on. What's your recommendation for EFI with a Victor intake? What do you mean? What's your recommendation for EFI? Like engine management? All right. My AOD LX was a tube front, but still had stock K member. I'm curious as to how much that weighs. It's a ton. Can you spray a little WD and turn it over? What? Can you spray a little WD and turn it over for us? Not really. I'm just going to leave it like it is. It's just sitting out right now. I usually have an engine bag, but I usually unveil it for like live stream and such. So guess your time game. Yeah. There's a lot of factors involved with that. Will GT brakes work on a 2.3 car? No. Throttle body for SFI or TBI will replace the carb. All right. So what else we got? Guys, answer questions for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead and get off the channel for the night. But this week's videos, we got how much does the coupe weigh? We'll probably do the white car, how much does it weigh, and what the importance of getting the weight right. I did mention it in the coupe video, but I'm just doing some content that's fun here in the channel, guys. I'm doing it to bring content to the channel and it'd be informative for you guys. I got the top 10 mods of the stuff that we're actually going to be doing to the car that we're ordering as far as the coupe is concerned. We got the GT40 intake video coming up soon where we switched all 3 of those at the dyno. That's an interesting one. I'm going to shoot a video with Lamar's motor and pretty much discuss the fact that sometimes you don't always get what you're promised, maybe on Marketplace or Craigslist, whatever. Stuff to look out for. There's red flags here and there. So you guys got to keep your ear to the channel, man. We got a lot of good stuff coming out. Tussin said about 55-pound weight savings from the, yeah, it's about that. It's a lot. Aerostar drive shaft. Most likely, if you see an Aerostar drive shaft, Kent, on the Marketplace, they already know what it's for. That is, again, Neo. Can't wait to see the 387 action. Great content as always. I appreciate that. Love all the content you do. Awesome. I appreciate that, man. There's so many mods that you can do. So I want to give a special shout out to Ryan O'Shea for the $10 super sticker tonight. Thank you so much for donating to the channel. Guys, check out that join button below, man. The guys in green are my members of the channel. And special perks for the channel for being a channel member. Early video viewing. You get to see the video a day or so before it actually comes out live. When we do things on there, like I asked the question yesterday on how much the coupe weighed, and the winner gets a t-shirt. So pretty cool stuff. We got, I'm pretty active with the channel members. Super Dave, again, $20 super sticker. Thanks for donating here to the channel tonight. And Kent McCraney, another $5 super sticker. Guys, thanks so much for doing that for me here on the channel, man. We good? Okay. So, what mods are needed for GT40P intake to work on a FOXBODY? 2 things you can do if you get the non-EGR version GT40 intake. You can either weld a bung, 3/8 bung, into the number 5 runner, which is what we do. And you can put your IAT in there because that's where the FOXBODY one is. Or you could relocate your IAT sensor to the intake tube. 9495 did that. That was one of the things that changed in the engine bay, was the IAT was moved from the lower intake to the airbox because they figured out that when the engine would soak and get hot, it would pull timing out of the stock tune. So that's why the IAT actually relocated in 94. So 2 things you can do. So how you like the SN550 torsion diffs? I'm not sure what that is. Aerostar probably weighs twice as much as us. It does. Anyway, all right, where are we at? All right, guys, I'm probably going to go ahead and call it for the night. Like I said, we'll have a video tomorrow. Got a couple shorts coming up this week. Got a lot of content to put on the channel. And I appreciate you guys for watching it. We do talk, we have, how would you build it? That's what this whole thing was about. You guys rambled off 8 or 9, 10 different mods. That's how you would build it. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. The way I'm about to build this coupe is how I would build it. Now, I would want to build it in more of a race street form because that's kind of where I'm at with my Fox bodies at this point. So I'm looking at getting all the subframes and the torque boxes and the roll cage and all the stuff out of the way because it's in shell form right now. So, before, it's all about time and money. It's all about how much, and family has to play a part in that as well. Make time for your Fox bodies, but, don't ignore your family or, waste time. Get your car off the jack stands. I'm always talking about getting your cars off the jack stands, even if you got to put stock parts back on it. I do these videos working on my cars to maybe kind of motivate you to get your car done, get that mod in, buy that mod, get that mod, put that mod in the car, get it done. We have 35-year-old cars now, 30-year-old cars. They're historic, man. They've been collectors for like 10 years. So it's no fun looking at it on a jack stand, knowing that it's just going to sit there. But anyways, just reading chat here. I appreciate that, Jesse. I appreciate that. So again, if you're watching the stream, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of, think of the mods that we're doing to the car here in the back. And, obviously with the mods that we chose here on the board. One more time, get a look at it. It's kind of chicken scratch, but you can actually see it this week, right? I didn't have all the fancy lighting on, so it didn't blind the shit out of the board. Gears, subframes, exhaust, cam, springs, heads, intake, stands, 3G alternator, guys. This is all good stuff, man. If you're just now getting into the Fox body genre, and you're just now getting into the Fox body channels and wanting to know, where you should go with some of your cars. Or where you should start looking at first when you start getting these parts for your cars. There's a list. Check it out, man, for sure. Outside of that, guys, I want another shout out to Hanlon Motorsports, my right-hand man, Andrew, for helping me out here on the channel so much. Special thanks to my man, Cousin Paul, and Sandy, his wife, for the most part, and Cousin Fred here. I love you guys. Yeah, that's about all I got for you. Guys, stick around this week for the channel. We got a lot of content coming out. I appreciate everybody for joining this evening and for being engaged here with the content that we had on the channel, man. It's always exciting to have a good live stream with a lot of content in it. Appreciate you guys for joining up. So everybody have a good night. Thank you so much. We'll see you this week in the next video. Have a good night.